Yeah, I really do agree with his sentiment of kindness, humility. If you go to Walgreens and your bill is $1,600 for a medication that you absolutely need and can't afford to pay, well, you have a serious problem on your hands. Unfortunately, a lot of the products that come out of pharmacies aren't manufactured in the United States of America. They're manufactured in India. And I know maybe you don't like tariffs, but if from a business perspective, if you can negotiate prices down if they're manufacturing in the United States versus importing for overseas, that's a good move on behalf of the administration or on behalf of businesses. Again, we're spending $4 trillion plus a year on Medicare and Medicaid, and we only take in $5 trillion a year in taxes. Explain to me, ladies and gentlemen, how this is going to keep working. We're $38 trillion in debt. I know I keep repeating myself. But again, from a place of kindness, we've been 20 years at war since 9/11, 2001, 24 years at war. We have a major fiscal crisis on our hand. We need austerity. We have to stop the spending.
Yeah, I just have to respond to that. We don't need austerity. We live in a country that is, again, we are the most powerful, wealthiest nation in the history of the world. Working class, low-income people deserve better than austerity, to have their health care and programs cut from underneath them. That is an insane suggestion, first of all. Second of all, health care, I believe, should be a human right. That is something I stand strong about. Now, we need people to invest in research and development. We need to incentivize new drugs, new therapies, new ways of doing that, and making sure that people can do that and they have the money that's required. That involves a partnership between the federal government that can work on that level of scale and those innovators, those researchers, those business people. But as far as guaranteeing human healthcare as a human right, to me that's a non-starter. That's something we have to move to. It would be different if we were all living and everyone was poor in America. That's not the case. We're about to see the world's first trillionaire right here in America, and we can't guarantee healthcare. That's shameful.
I agree fully with Mr. Nolley. We need to make sure in this country, the #1 country in the world, that I firmly believe, healthcare should be a right and not a privilege. We need to remind leaders that forget that sentiment, but we need to remind this executive branch that as well. That healthcare should not be a concern whether someone's going to pay to keep food on their table or pay for insulin medication. As representatives, we need to continue to push to cap certain medications.
Congress a beautiful bill. There's a list of hospitals that are under threat of closing because of the Medicaid cuts. So for one, when I get in Congress, I will aggressively fight to reverse those cuts and make sure that our rural people, who are some of the most vulnerable people in America, have facilities where they can get high quality health care. It's shameful. And for two, again, as the federal government being with the economies of scale, we have to make those investments. Those are communities, those are areas where it's very hard for the private sector to go in alone and make investments and feel confident that that return on investment. The federal government has and must be involved with that going forward. And again, that's a non-starter. We have to use the weight of the federal government to make sure people living in some of the most hollowed out, tough economic situations in our rural communities have decent and adequate health care.
Again, Medicare and Medicaid is $4 trillion plus a year. If we want to protect hospitals, you're also talking about health insurance corporations, the middleman in this whole fray. Darin LaHood's biggest donors are Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cardinal Health. So when you have to understand, politicians are speaking out of both sides of their mouths because they're not giving you the full story. This has all to do with Fortune 500 and getting that money, that $2 trillion that we don't collect a year in taxes. Without that and without tax credits, a lot of these corporations wouldn't even be showing a profit. Again, we have a serious fiscal problem. We can't just keep spending. We have to have major reforms, health insurance corporations, the middleman. If we cut funding, we're going to destroy a lot of businesses, and a lot of stocks on Wall Street are going to go down. It's all one giant connected system, but we have to be pragmatic. We have to practice intelligence. We absolutely have to have priorities when it comes to spending. If we want to be competitive in the global marketplace, so I'm going to stop. Thank you very much.
Can you repeat the question?